I believe we have to start with text 19. Jnanam karma cha karta cha tridhaiva gunabhedata prochyate gunasankhyaने yatha vakshinuthani api. According to the three different modes of material nature, there are three kinds of knowledge: action and performer of action. Now, hear of them from me. In the 14th chapter, the three divisions of the modes of material nature were elaborately described. In that chapter, it was said that the mode of goodness is illuminating, the mode of passion is materialistic, and the mode of ignorance is conducive to laziness and indolence. All the modes of material nature are binding. They are not sources of liberation. Even in the mode of goodness, one is conditioned. In the 17th chapter, the different types of worship by different types of men in different modes of material nature were described. In this verse, the Lord says that He wishes to speak about the different types of knowledge, workers and work itself according to the three material modes. Sarvabhuteshu yenaikum bhavanapyayam ikshate avibhaktam vibhakteshu tadjnanam vidhi satvikam. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all the living entities. Though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. A person who sees one spirit soul in every living being, whether a demigod, a human being, animal, bird, beast, aquatic or plant, possesses knowledge in the mode of goodness. In all the living entities, one spirit soul is there. Although they have different bodies in terms of their previous work. As described in the 7th chapter, the manifestation of the living force in every body is due to the superior nature of the Lord. Thus, to see that one superior nature, that living force in every body, is to see in the mode of goodness. That living entity is imperishable, although the bodies are perishable. Differences are perceived in terms of the body because there are many forms of material existence in conditioned life. The living force appears to be divided. Such impersonal knowledge is an aspect of self-realization. The thread which the Supreme Lord is unraveling here is very much behavioral in its setting. In general, also knowledge or intelligence is described in terms of deriving patterns from an apparent variegated data. Big data analytics is about finding some patterns in overwhelming distribution of data, seemingly very different looking data. So in coming up with some patterns. In fact, we say, when do we say that, okay, we know a certain phenomenon? When we are able to find out the most essential features. Although every instance of any physical phenomena is variegated. Therefore, you see, based on one principle, there are 1000 applications. Those applications are variegated. But we say that, okay, we know a certain particular phenomena when we are able to catch the essential principles and not only model it, but formulate it. And then we say, okay, this formula describes everything. Like, okay, if we say optics, one formula describes everything, or a few, everything else the corollary of one main thing. A nuclear physics, one formula describes everything. Isn't it? Or a set of formula describes everything. So that's what we call it as knowledge, is it not? But okay, we know a phenomena because we can model it, we can formulate it. And although there are going to be variations, but that essential formula applies everywhere. Similarly, life situations pose in front of us so many variegated and confounding and bewildering situations. So just passing through the situations, that is not called as knowledge. That's not called as experience. We start coming to the trajectory, or we start coming to the domain of gaining knowledge. When we start understanding the essential principles behind the variations, the constant within the flux, the static within the dynamic, or the stable within the changing. So the ability to see that the Lord is describing is the mode of goodness. And that unifying essential factor is the Lord's very spiritual nature, the living force. And if one can see that spirit soul within every different, within any different living entity, then that is called as knowledge. The Lord is telling that is knowledge in the mode of goodness. Now, that is the knowledge which can elevate a person. That is the knowledge which can actually give him more handles and controls over what's happening, and a better understanding and interpretation of the events of life, or the best understanding and interpretation of the events of life, rather. So this is what we are supposed to come to. Sometimes people say that, oh, we can learn by experience. No problem. We go around the world, we drink water in various ghats, we can learn. People say like that. What is the need to take the spirituality? We can just learn by experience. So this idea is not recommended or sanctioned by the Shastras. Because interfacing life situations does not mean anything. We have to understand what is called as experience. Now, experience is described. Now, experience is a very common term. Experience is described in the Shastras in very specific terms. And the specific term used is realization. Now, what do you mean experience? Experience is a very common vague term actually. But the very specific term is realization. And the Shastras use this term profusely. Realization. Realization is the term used. So what is realization? What is realization? So realization basically means realization basically means in very simple terms, any intermediate milestone of understanding and vision achieved or installed towards deriving the ultimate goal of seeing the spiritual within the material. That is called as realization. Is it not? So that means realization is not reception of stimuli. Reception of stimuli is not realization. Realization is only achieved when there is an attempt to reach the goal of finding that unifying spiritual force within every variegated, seemingly contradictory material situations. Okay, this is mode of goodness. You will see the mode of transcendental goodness is also described in a similar fashion. The definition is similar. What is mode of transcendental goodness? Mode of transcendental goodness is Tatte Nukampa Susumikshamana Bunjana Evatma Kritam Vipakam. That is transcendental goodness, is it not? Pure goodness. What is pure goodness? Satyanukampa sumikshamana. Any situation one understands there is mercy of the Lord. Any situation. Now I said simple. It's not simple. It is Ashtisheva Padartham platform. It's not a simple platform. So pure goodness is defined in a similar fashion, is it not? Like goodness is defined, pure goodness is also defined in a similar fashion. So what is happening to a person, the situation does not matter. He is only seeing the great, he is only seeing Krishna's mercy. Oh, this is amazing, is it not? So you see, this is Ashti Seva Padarata platform, is it not? So the gopis, they are ecstatic. Whether there is whether there is Sambhoga Leela or Vipralamba Leela, they are ecstatic. That means whatever is happening cannot have any effect on their state of existence. Awesome. This is awesome. This is pure goodness definition actually. This vision is called as pure goodness, is it not? So you see, goodness and pure goodness, the vision is similar. The goal is on the same line, is it not? Now the interesting point which comes here is that so unless there is an attempt to actually move towards this goal, unless the sadhaka is committed towards move towards this kind of vision or install this kind of vision in his heart, and unless he makes some progress in that direction, there is no experience, there is no realization. That's the point. You see, this vision is very amazing. Now, see, one may say that, okay, what is the difference it makes? You know, we are pursuing knowledge in whichever mode. What is the difference it makes? You will see, knowledge is a very powerful thing. And now, a little bit of change of polarity in the knowledge, and it will be earth and sky of change in the earth and sky of difference in a person. When a person develops a vision as is being described in the mode of goodness, there is no binding force. No force can bind such a person, because in this vision, enjoying mentality is evaporated. There is no enjoying mentality existing at this plane. The moment one sees the living force, the moment one is able to connect with the living force, or the enjoying mentality goes for a toss. The enjoying mentality goes for a toss. Now, because he's got knowledge, is it? So the enjoying mentality, because one cannot think. Therefore, acharyas say that actually when one installs and works hard towards this knowledge and is able to install even a fragment of this knowledge, the enjoying mentality cannot exist. A person cannot enjoy sense gratification. Because you understand, this belongs to Krishna, is not my property. This belongs to Krishna, this is not my property. Like one time, one young devotee, he was sharing. So he had heard a lot of lectures on Vaishnava Aparadh. So he was very cautious, like that. So So he went for a temple visit. Now it was a festival time. He was experiencing the temple visit, and he was now it was a festival time. And then we asked him, okay, so how is it? He said, Prabhu, I was very fearful, Okay, why were you fearful? So he said the point is that in the temple there is now in the boys there are only boys, In the temple there are all they're not only boys, there are Matajis, there are children, there are old men, old ladies, everyone. Uh, 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 so he said, I was very fearful. I said, why you're fearful? He said, there were so many Matajis, like that. And I was very fearful. Then I said, okay, so you are fearful that you're fearful about no, okay, not looking at Matajis. Is that? He said, no. It is no. He said, in general, there is no problem being with girls, being with ladies, like that in the marketplace, in the college, in the office, no problem, like that. But actually, he said, in general, there is no problem. But here in the temple, then so he was thinking. So you see, his thought process was what? And in the temple, he was thinking that okay, if I look at Madhujis and if I think some bad desire, in general, there is no problem. That was his idea. In general, there is no problem, So it's all okay, like that. But if I think at Madhujis, they are devotees. And Krishna takes Vaishnava Aparadha very seriously, So it's an offense to even think in a wrong direction towards any Mataji, because they're devotees, they have come to the Lord. So Krishna will not leave me, So he was telling that, so I was really, really fearful, like that. It was his initial days realization. So at least he was very well behaved. One should be well behaved all the time, but at least in the temple he was well behaved, in where he's looking at, how he's talking, how he's behaving, like that. So the point is, you see, the knowledge is very powerful. Immediately you see the enjoying mentality is evaporated. One little installation and the enjoying mentality is evaporated, like that. Therefore, acharyas recommend one should see, one should practice to see everything as Krishna's property. This is not my property. Yeah. So here the you see the mode of goodness, knowledge and mode of goodness is so amazing. There is no there is not even there cannot be any speck of exploitative mentality in this particular vision, because he's seeing that every living entity is the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So how can enjoying mentality remain? One can just think of offering obeisances. One cannot think of enjoying. One will say, okay, if I touch, it is, how can I touch? It's Ravan mentality, is it not? How can I think? It is Ravan mentality, is it not? Yeah, that's the point. That's lack of vision. So you see, this knowledge of this knowledge in the mode of goodness, a little bit an installation of this knowledge can change our wearing setting. Actually, enjoying mentality only exists in illusion. So therefore, actually, this understanding of the various these three levels of knowledge, and the attempt by the sadhaka to reinstate or keep himself situated in the platform of knowledge in the mode of goodness, is very essential, because this the degree of cultivation of this knowledge will determine the degree of exploitative and sensual mentality. That's why you see in the gradation of the evolution of even a Vaishnava, an Uttamadhikari actually he sees every living entity as pure devotee. You see, it is the same vision in its perfection, EX grade performance, is it not? The same vision which is being talked about here. Let's see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. He's not just seeing everyone as a spirit soul, poor fellow, no, God conditioned. He's seeing everyone as pure devotee only. So even in dream, even in imagination, in the wildest of the delusions, the thought of sense gratification will not arise. Is it not? Well, everybody is pure devotee. Now just imagine, the thought of sense gratification will not arise. Is it not? One may be so careful like that. Yeah, one will be so careful. So this is the interesting point which we have to understand. So this knowledge, the platform of knowledge in the mode of goodness is very powerful. Let's go further. The soul has a form, yes. Yes, the body is developed over soul's form. The soul's form is not the same. The soul's consciousness is the same. In the spiritual world, a tree and a gopa are having the same consciousness. The level of evolution of consciousness is the same. The forms are different actually. And the body grows over the spirit soul. Over the form of the spirit soul, the body grows. That is true. So now the question is that how is it possible? Because the bodies are different. And so the point is that there is no gross one-on-one mapping. It's not like no, it's not like okay that we are it's not like okay we are putting a covering over a particular shape, then it has to adopt that shape, just like in casting. So it's not like casting, foundry casting. It is not as gross as that. No, it's not as gross as that. So the soul grows over the body, but it's not like foundry casting. So basically that casting is happening not on the gross plane. Therefore on the gross plane you cannot map that okay this body means this thing. On the gross plane you cannot map it. It's not like shirt over the body, okay, whatever are the features of the body, they get another, like fat person, the shirt becomes like that. The slim person, shirt becomes like that. No, it's not exactly like that. So how it is? So basically the foundry casting is happening on the subtle plane, not on the gross plane. It's happening, but on the subtle plane. Very interesting. Like that. So the spirit soul in a conditioned state is having certain impressions and sanskars. Those impressions direct a particular type of body, and that body, that gross body, will facilitate those sanskars. So that casting is happening on the subtle plane. You got the point? It's not the gross plane. So therefore, we cannot correlate. Okay, what type of body a tree in the spiritual world will have when the tree comes to the material world? What kind of body Suravi will have? What kind of body a Gopa will have? So the gross plane will not work. It's a subtle plane which works. The bodies are different. The consciousness is the same. So consciousness is very evolved. You see, Mother Yashoda is so sensitive. Even the milk is so sensitive. In the Damodar Leela, you see the milk, or the milk Prabhu is also so sensitive. Is it not? So the milk Prabhu is committing suicide. No, very sensitive. So milk Prabhu is, the milk Prabhu is singing, better let me just give my ahuti, Mother Yashoda can peacefully serve Krishna. Is it not? So you see how sensitive and conscious. And even the grass Prabhu is very conscious. So Gopas are conscious, the grass Prabhu is also conscious. So you see, that is spiritual world. The consciousness is most evolved. There's no difference in consciousness. Like that. Material calculations may not apply. Yeah, so the material calculations may not apply actually that way. So if you want to be very specific, a particular sevan may be given to one milk prabhu. And one milk prabhu may be able to produce any quantity of milk. Something like that. Got the point. Just like cooking seva is given to few devotees, one devotee or few devotees, and actually they can cook any number of items. In general, they may not cook because it's material world. But say if it is a feast, or say if they have got a job, or they have got some promotion, then they may cook. Is it not? Like that? They'll cook a big feast. They can cook 10 items. Is it not? So the number of items. So any one devotee can also cook. Is it not? In the same way, actually, the sevan, whenever the Lord will drink milk, so one milk prabhu or few milk prabhus will get that seva, and they will be able to produce any quantity or any kind of derivation of taste which comes from milk, like that. Interesting, no? Huh? Deity? No, just like so Mother Surabhi will be in charge of all of them actually. No, Mother Surabhi will be in charge for all of them. They will all be subservient to Mother Surabhi and the cows, because ultimately milk is coming from the cows. So that's the point. Mother Surabhi is might be in charge. So so we can only understand that it is going to be very sweet and very personal and very amazing. And that fact is clear that all the food items and eatable, they're all living entities. I mean, they're devotees. And they go in the mouth, they give the taste, and they come out. And then they go for another seva. So that's how they are. So milk is also like that, and eatables will also be like that. So that means, what does it mean that Mother Yashoda is cooking? So Mother Yashoda is cooking means what? What is that production coming actually? So it may mean that, okay, Mother Yashoda is allowing or allotting service like Vrinda Devi to those eternal food prabhus, and to come and serve Krishna. That is one type of understanding what we can have. Another type of understanding what we can have is that Mother Yashoda is actually producing them. They're children of Mother Yashoda. That is another kind of understanding. And she is raising them, and then they are going to serve Krishna. So it can be any of these meanings. To just give us an idea of what is exactly happening. But whatever is happening is awesome and very sweet. Is it not? Like that. So whatever glimpse of understanding what we can have, we can really appreciate that one point, that it is superbly sweet. Like that. What an amazing setting. Is it not? What an amazing setting. Yeah, okay. So what does it mean by boiling milk, Prabhu? So so boiling may not necessarily mean painful. Just like the boiling may not necessarily mean painful. Just like you see, for us, if you go to a river body, it is so refreshing. For a particular kind of another material composition body, fire may be refreshing. So it's not just like water is very refreshing for us, for a body made of earth. Similarly, a different constituent body, fire will be very refreshing, like that. For another constituent body, fire will be food. Like fire will be food. So a spiritual body means everything, or spiritual body means anything. like that. So spiritual body means anything, and therefore actually boiling may be as nourishing an activity as so boiling the milk on fire may be as nourishing an activity as breastfeeding a child, you know? So it may be as nourishing as that, like that, you know? Or feeding cerelac to a child, you know? So boiling may be as nourishing as that, and therefore the milk Prabhu may be looking forward to it, and Mother Yashoda will be looking forward to it. So spiritual world, there is no discrepancy.